Hey guys, Kieran here at OnlyFangs. After a little bit of trouble with my suspension setup, we've travelled to Sydney. This is what a day looks like at Shock Treatment with the one and only Terry Hay. Hey guys, I'm here out at the track with Terry Hay. I'm going to let Terry give some explaining to what we're doing here today.
Okay, one of the things that we want to do with every motorcycle is actually test and appreciate just what we're starting with, and we can look at the bike on the track, we can see exactly how the bike's performing, we can see how the rider's working as well, and the rider is assessed every bit as much as what the motorcycle is, and so we want to see how the bike's traveling across the ground. But what we find when we're testing with different riders, some guys stand up a lot, some guys sit down a lot, some guys are front heavy on the motorcycle, some guys are rear heavy, and all these things require a different setting to suit each rider. So here we try to offer the most complete service that you'll find anywhere in the world, and so everybody gets treated like a factory rider. They get tested, they get assessed, we work out exactly what's going on with the motorcycle, how the rider's adapting to that bike, and then we'll head back to the workshop and we'll make changes. So far, this bike is very interesting. It's got a different linkage in it from the conventional one, and so we're automatically seeing areas that perhaps aren't working quite as nicely as the conventional unit, and we're not getting the grip and the control that we want. So we're going to have a little bit more testing. We're going to do a few more laps, so we'll be making changes, trying to get the best performance from this bike in its current state. But also what happens with the changes that we're making, we're actually mapping out the direction that we want to head when we pull this bike down, break it down, see exactly what's in there, and we'll know what changes we want to make to get the best performance. So if we find that we're naturally using less and less rebound, we'll be backing the rebound off when we get there, get up in the workshop, so that we can get the rebound adjusted where we want it on the bike, so that we've got maximum adjustment when we're finished. Same with compression, etc. And getting the balance correct is pivotal as well. And so looking at this bike already, we can see that we've got too much low-speed rebound damping, not enough high-speed rebound damping. So we'll be making those changes later, but we'll get him doing a few more laps, and we'll make our mind map, and we'll head back and hopefully get this bike awesome for this afternoon. Okay, let's get into it. Okay, so how are you finding it out there on the track, particularly with the rear at this point?
The rear's chatting around a lot, moving all over the track, pretty unstable, and it's pretty hard to build confidence into the bike when it's doing that.
Right. As I said before, we're just about mapping out the direction that we're going to make our changes. Now, it's pretty obvious to me it's a little slow on the initial rebound movement, but then we get a sudden release. So basically we're going to have a look at what effect we can get with the rebound damping now. Now I'm going to actually make this faster. And effectively what we're doing is we're chasing traction at this point. Okay, so our control might get a little bit looser in this particular instance, but I want to know whether the traction goes forward, or whether we get an improvement in traction, or whether it backs off. So I'll make a quick change and get you back out on the track. Okay, so how'd you get on?
Yeah, more traction, 100%.
Yep.
Bike was lifting at points it wasn't lifting before. The
Yeah, I
total
could
drive
see the power wheelie come out of the corner, so that was all good.
Way better drive everywhere. In terms of the rear, way better.
Well, I actually much happier with the way it looked on the track. We had better attitude over the jumps and everything, and so what we want to do is get the rear sorted first, and then we're going to move to the front. But I think we can go a little further again. I don't think we quite nailed it then. I think we'll get a little bit better, so we're going to do more of the same. I don't want to be telling Kieran too many of the changes that we're making in terms of what I'm actually doing, because otherwise, if I do that, if he knows what changes I'm making, basically that's going to put thoughts into his head. So and it will affect his answers when he comes back out. So you try not to let them know too much of what you're doing, and basically that's going to create much more honest feedback for us. So how was that one?
Small change, but big enough difference to notice. The grip was definitely increased again. Couldn't fault it. The rear feels a lot better than it did when I first started at the start of the day.
Well, we've actually highlighted the imbalance now. Okay, so yes, we've got more grip, but it did look a little looser out there, which is fine. Like Basically for us, what we're going to do is we're going to alter the balance between high and low speed rebound. We'll get that high speed control along with the low speed grip that we're chasing. So we're going to stop mucking around with the rear rebound now, and we're going to start working on the compression.
Perfect.
Does the bike feel hard or soft to you in the rear at this point?
Probably soft.
Probably soft.
Definitely feels a little bit soft, especially on some of the jumps. I mean, I'm not motocross, but some of the jumps it's landing pretty hard in the rear, and just some of the braking bumps it's kicking pretty hard on some of the braking bumps. But traction overall is 10 times better than it was when I started.
With this particular bike, we have a separate high and low speed rebound compression adjuster, and the high speed adjuster, you know, most conventional thought is that that's for the high speed bumps, the bumps that are going to create the most rapid wheel reaction. But the high speed adjuster is actually very effective in controlling the amount of stroke that we're using, and the low speed adjuster actually, surprisingly enough, goes a lot towards the comfort and the initial impact of the bumps. So getting that balance between high and low speed adjustment on the shock is critical, and we're going to make that change now. We'll send him out for another couple of laps and see how we get on with that. Okay, so we've made our changes. Fortunately on this shock it has just changes you can make with your hands. You don't need a screwdriver or anything. They put this little panel in here. We're going to leave this off for testing purposes and just make our life a little easier while we're here on the track. How we go?
Better. First thing I noticed was across the backs of the 3 doubles over there, the bike just nailed all of them without any overreaction in the rear. The rear's now not kicking left and right, the bike's staying straight, which is confidence inspiring. Yeah, it's a big change, made a big difference, love it.
Okay, so very simple for us. Now that we've made that change, we've got the feedback. Basically I went a little firmer on the high speed and we actually backed the rebound out about 6 clicks and made the initial movement of the shock much nicer and controlled the stroke a lot better. Okay, so now onto the fork and we'll start working with the front end. Okay, so we made that change in the front. How do you get on with it?
Bike felt way better. The front end gripped in the corners a heap better. Felt like I could hold the corner a lot longer and a lot easier than I could before. It wasn't chattering around over the smaller bumps as I was going across the back straight up there. The bike actually held and felt planted all the way across, which was pretty confidence inspiring. Overall, yeah, good change.
Okay, I think we can go a little bit further in that direction and possibly get a little bit more. One of the things when we're chasing grip, and grip is paramount, like you can only go as fast as traction will let you. So as we increase traction, we can naturally increase speed. You never want your riders testing at 100%. Basically, we want to be doing laps at around 80-85%. Fast enough to feel all the changes, but not so fast that you're on the limit. And so when we're making changes and we're chasing grip, sometimes that grip can come at the expense of control. So we can engineer the control back into the bike, but grip is gold. Grip is what we're chasing. So we're going to try for a little bit more front end grip now, and potentially that might feel a little loose. You know, if it starts to get a bit out of control, that's okay because we're not pushing the limits and we can manage that. And so we'll get this back to the workshop and we'll put that control back into it. But for now, let's go for more grip. Okay. How'd you get on then?
Much better. Front end stability was great. The lull period in the forks pretty much gone.
Yep.
Bike holds a corner so much better, attacks all the rougher stuff so much easier. Big change. I'm wrapped already.
Yeah, I was just saying, like, you can see that you're riding that much faster. So you only ride as fast as your confidence lets you, and so as you become more comfortable, you'll naturally ride quicker. And that's the greatest speed secret. If you want to get your rider faster, make them more comfortable, make them more confident on the bike. Confidence is key, particularly in this thing, the front wheel. And one of the things that Kieran has done that's been a great step forward is by putting a Bridgestone tyre on here. Trust me, if you haven't tried a Bridgestone before, get one. You will be surprised. You know, I was testing here with young Joe O'Donnell, and we put the Bridgestone X30s on the front of his bike, X31, and I said to him, how was it? And he come back here, he said, it's like there's a magnet in my front tyre, it's just stuck, you know. So Kieran's got a Bridgestone tyre, and those things are awesome, and this is the most important part of your motorcycle. But now we're engineering more and more traction into it. We've got some really good data. Kieran's starting to just breathe a little bit harder. I can see that he's starting to make a couple of fitness generated mistakes on the track, but the bike is looking good. We know which direction we want to head now. We're not going to keep torturing him by doing more and more laps. We'll head back to the workshop now and we'll make some changes, and we'll come back this afternoon and we'll go through this process again so that he's leaving here with the bike in its maximum performing state. So, okay, back to the workshop. Let's go.
All right, guys, we're back in the workshop after some testing. As you can see, the boys are already working on the bike and pulling it down. Once it's complete and they do their magic, we'll go back out to the track and we'll have another test.
Okay, so we're back down on the track. We've made all our internal changes. Kieran's just come out, put in a few warm-up laps. Obviously, everything's going to be wildly different, and now what we need to do is basically tune to get the most out of this motorcycle, and you know, everything's going to be a little different. So we like our riders to go out and do a few warm-up laps, just get a feel for the bike, and then basically pass their comment, and we'll work with those comments to get the bike well-rounded and finish off the day. So how did you find those few laps?
Obviously the track conditions are a little bit different to this morning. It's a bit drier now than it's in Arvo, so you have to take that into account. Overall, a massive leap forward. The difference was instantly noticeable from the first corner to the back straight. Everything was just way more improved and so much more confidence in the bike.
Right. So are you 100% happy, or?
I'll probably change a couple little things, just a little bit more dialing in, and I think it'll be pristine. But overall, compared to where we started this morning to now, you can't compare. It's chalk and cheese. The bike is overall so much more confidence inspiring.
I was curious to get your feedback, because you're obviously quicker on the track now, but the bike, to me, is not quite there. Okay, and I'd like to keep dialing it in and see if we can get it a little bit better for you, and make sure by the time you leave here, you got the bigger grin on your face and you've got the complete package. So so we'll keep working, and we'll make a couple of changes now. As I said, not completely happy with where we're at the moment. That's quite often the case, but we're only a few clicks away, but got the screwdriver in hand, so we'll get there. Okay. Okay, so how'd you go with that lap?
Major improvement. The front end is perfect. The front end grips everywhere. I turn the wheel and just hit the throttle and the bike takes it. There's no trying to overcorrect and get the bike leaning back up because it's trying to wash out. Holds the track way better. Unbelievable improvement in the front end.
You're definitely taking the corners further inside the corner, if you like. It's like you're turning a sharper line. It seemed like you could plant that front wheel and just work the rear wheel around it. You know, like these enduro guys do like to rear wheel steer. It's just something they love to do, and you know, it's not perfect technique on the motocross track, but once they get in the bush, it really comes alive and really helps them in the bush, and gets that bike around some much tighter corners than what you'll ever see on a motocross track. But really happy with the way that was looking. The front end did seem very planted to me, and watching Kieran on the track then, he certainly seemed a lot more comfortable with those settings. We're going to work a little bit more on the rear, and we're going to chase a bit more grip. Now here's the deal, from this morning we had good moisture in the track. We've had a nice sunny day. It's a winter's day, but bit of breeze and the sun, and it has taken the moisture out of that top level surface. But if you're chasing grip, the best time to do it is when the conditions are poor, not when the conditions are great. If you've got a highly tacky track, everybody's going to have good grip. So once the conditions start to go away on you, if you want to chase grip, you'll soon know whether you're moving in the right direction or not. And so we're going to work a little bit more in the rear now, and we'll get this hooking up a bit better before we go. So we're so close, but I'm sure he wants a little bit more out of it. I know I want a little bit more out of it, and it's only going to take a few clicks and we're going to be there. But as it is at the moment, very happy with the progress, but we'll keep working. Okay.
That's phenomenal. Don't touch it. That's the best the bike's ever been by far.
Really?
Yeah, 100%. The bike feels incredible.
Okay. Right. Okay. So we've been testing here on the motocross track. It's a natural terrain motocross track, and even though Kieran's an enduro rider, let's face it, a bump's a bump, and we need to get the suspension working. And The reason we're testing on this track is because we can see everything, we can see how he's working, we can see how the bike's working, and we have got it to a really good stage. As you heard from Kieran, he's very, very happy. But we're not finished here. As I said, he's an enduro rider. We're now going to move to the enduro track, and we'll get him to run around and cut a few laps around the enduro track. Make sure he's 100% happy in the bush before we call it a wrap. But in terms of the way the bike's working, awesome. Kieran's obviously happy with it, and so now we'll take it one step further and make sure he's happy in the environment that he loves. So
we couldn't do a closeout video yesterday because we ran out of time. With a 7-hour drive ahead of us, we were pretty quick to get the bike set up, sorted, and on the car and out of there. So big shout out to Terry and the guys at Shock Treatment. Terry couldn't be more helpful. All the guys there couldn't be more helpful. Everybody explained any questions that I had to their full potential. Terry's understanding and the ability to watch the bike and understand what the bike is doing when you're riding it is second to none. There's no one that can do what that man does. If you're in Australia, you're looking to get your suspension done, make the trip to Sydney. You won't regret it. The man's an absolute genius and a master of his craft. On the way out, Terry gave me 2 t-shirts, a gym towel, said I have any questions at all, give him a call anytime, and he's happy to go through whatever for me. The bike has never ever felt better than it does right now. It was at a point where it was annoying to ride because I noticed so many of the imperfections in the setup. He rectified all of those. We probably spent 5 hours of testing time out on his track. He spared no time when it come to the bike. He made sure he was there for every minute of the filming, every minute of the testing. He wanted to make sure that bike was 110% before I put it on the car and made a 7-hour trip home. The man's a legend. I can't really say any more than that. Check him out. Shock Treatment on Instagram, Shock Treatment on YouTube. Stay tuned for more average videos from an average rider.